Or is it something else that you know? What is it that would make this such an abuse of office?
Wow. Thank you, Senator Halake. I am trying to find your question exactly, but let me see if I got you. I think, of course, I am limited here to my opinion in this matter. Given the gravity of the situation in our healthcare at the time, I think you can all remember to the footage you saw on the television. And the fact that the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board actually came for a site visit and required that we make a turnaround in the hospital in 14 days, failure to which they would have shut down the hospital. I thought that disregarding the recommendations of the task force on pertinent issues like those that have already been brought before this committee and reducing it to an issue of who was at fault and what needed to be bought really was removing yourself from the feelings of the people who were suffering in the hands of our healthcare at the time. So that it was my feeling, given the gravity of the issue.
Feeling which you concluded to be abuse of office or to be fraud. What did that feeling then amount to for you?
I can just call it disregard. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, we shall cross over to Honorable Beth Mugo on Zoom. Mheshimiwa, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
To unmute her mic.
Unmute your mic. As we reconnect ourselves with Senator Beth Mugo, I'll give Honorable Mazayo 1 minute and then we conclude this matter in the interest of time.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Njeru.
Yes.
I want to be very sympathetic to your case because you have said in your oral evidence that you are thrown out of an aircraft going to the US, or you are rather told to get out, which is contrary to all the procedures. Were you told the reasons why you are being told to get out of the plane?
No, I wasn't.
I find it to be a very serious allegation. But unfortunately, it is not reflected on your witness statement. Why did you choose to omit it here when it's a very, very serious allegation of a member of staff who has been officially booked to proceed representing the county and, of course, in the company of the governor, told to disembark? And you did never put it here. Would we consider that to be a rumor or personal hatred or women issues, or what would it be?
Point of order. Don't go there, Senator.
On the contrary, Senator Masayo, I think, as I said, we were guided to believe that our statements were supposed to be a summary, and so we would be appearing here in person to further expound on what you see on our statements. So that's what led to it not appearing there, because I was coming to give it as an example of the things I said on my statement.
On a serious allegations like this, and you say it was one of the reasons why you resigned, and yet it's not reflected on your statement. Say yes or no?
Yes or no to which question, Senator? Sorry.
Why you never put that incident as part of your statement to say why was the ground of resignation?
As I said, because I was led to believe that we're supposed to keep our statements in summary, to come then and speak before this committee and expound.
I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. As we conclude, you said you did not travel to the USA, right?
In March of 2019, no, we didn't.
So how then did you know that there existed no coffee shop in the US, yet you did not travel?
I was privy to that information following several progression in the government. I mean, I continued to serve as CEC past March, so then I was able to know that there was no coffee shop.
How did you know? Yet you did not
Because it
travel.
was discussed
Discussed where?
in the county executive committee.
And agreed that there was no coffee shop in the US.
I think it was reported. It wasn't really agreed.
Thank you. Honorable members, we shall allow Ms. Wanjiru to leave. Do you have anything to say? 30 seconds.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, honorable members of this committee, for giving us the opportunity. As I said, this has not been an easy thing for me to do, and so I implore the members of this committee, as the defenders of the institutions of devolution, really to look at this matter from a very diverse perspective. And if we are to give credence to the offices such as the one I held of County Executive Committee, I think they require the protection of the Senate, just like the offices of the governor does, and just like the county assemblies do. So I really hope that there will be a substantial way forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Wanjiru Njeru. You may leave now.
Thank you.
We shall now call upon next witness. We are remaining with two.
Yes, once we call this one, Chair, we'll only be remaining with one. Our next witness will be Gigi Kariuki.
Chairman, good evening. We haven't received any witness statement, late or otherwise, for any other witness. So we really have no notice of who is to testify.
Mr. Ngiabi, these are witnesses who were summoned by the committee.
Yeah, these are witnesses who are summoned by the committee.
Chairman.
So they will just submit their oral evidence.
Chairman, even in the summons, for this witness, there is no notice as to what he is coming to testify about. In respect of the other two witnesses, there is notice. In respect of this one, we are completely blind.
I think since we issued summons yesterday, we shall allow them to give their oral evidence, and then you shall also have a chance to cross-examine them as we proceed.
Thank you very much. That is well noted. Chair, perhaps I will ask, it has been a little while since we did it, if my learned colleague intends to rely on any documents from his bundle, if the protocol that Chair had put in place earlier, that he rips them out and shares them with you and your committee and ourselves applies.
Yeah. That is in order.
Yes, Chair, I've already done that. Actually, I'm relying on some of the documents that have already been produced.
Okay, you may proceed.
Ngiabi, witness is Ngiabi, the chair of the County Public Service Board.
Where is he?
Chairman, do I really need to put that objection on record, or has Chairman noted where the witness has come from?
I've noted, I've just realized he was in the chambers while other witnesses were making presentation.
Chairman, in that case, perhaps on behalf of the governor, I wish to put it formally on record that this witness now is not, despite the summons that were issued by this committee yesterday, this witness is now not in a position to testify, having sat and listened through the testimony. We all know what the protocol is. Witnesses sit outside the chamber and they come in and testify. Once they have testified, if it is okay with the committee, they are free to stay. But before they have testified, they cannot sit in the chamber and listen to the witnesses.
Thank you. I think I'll give directions as follows.
Only, Chair, there is input, if you may.
Yes.
That we may not confuse this process. This process is an inquisitorial process. It's not an adversarial process. We are all here for fact-finding. I know the witness that was summoned by the governor, Kaliras, is in the chambers, but I have no issues with that because we are all here to find the truth. It's an inquisitorial process. It's not adversarial whatsoever.
I'll make the following direction on the matter. I will request that we deal with the next witness as I deliberate on the same matter, and then I'll make a ruling in a short while. So kindly.
Thank you, Chairman.
So next witness. Are we ready with the next witness? In the interest of time, can we hasten the process of bringing in the next witness? What's the name of the next witness? Ndadhi. Mr. Ndadhi. Is he around? Whose responsibility is it to produce the witness? Sergeant? Or the council? This is your witness.
Yeah, summoned by the chamber. So we own the witness.
Yeah. So you may take oath or affirmation, then we proceed.
I, Patrick Mukondathi, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before the special committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Mr. Ndadhi, good evening. Mr. Ndadhi, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Would you kindly introduce yourself to the committee?
My name is Patrick Mukondathi.
Switch on your microphone.
It's on. My name is Patrick Mukondathi, Chief Officer Finance and Economic Planning, Kirinyaga County.
Would you also speak to your qualifications and your former employment?
I'm a graduate of Jomo Kenyatta University, Bachelor of Commerce. I've also worked in the banking sector for over 24 years, 10 of which in management.
We will allow you to remove your mask because it's interfering with the delivery of your speech.
Yes, what did you just say? I also didn't get you very well.
I'm a graduate of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, Bachelor of Commerce. I'm also a former banker, over 24 years experience, 10 of which in management.
Are you conversant with the travel of dignitaries like the governor procedures? Are you conversant with what happens during the travel, a foreign travel?
I'm conversant with the payment process.
Yeah, in the event an imprest is raised for to facilitate the travel of the governor, you are aware what happens thereafter in case the governor travels? Yes. What happens?
The same is supposed to be surrendered.
And in the event the governor fails to travel, what happens?
A refund is supposed to happen.
To whom is the refund made to?
To the county treasury.
To the county treasury, in which you are the chief officer, correct?
Yes.
I want to refer you to some payments that was done on 17th of April 2020. I am referring to the governor's bundle of documents labeled travel documents. Are you aware of that payment? I may show you.
Yes, I am.
You're aware of that payment? Yes?
Yes, I am.
Who made the payment?
The county treasury did.
The county treasury. On behalf of who? On whose behalf was this payment done?
On behalf of Excellency Governor.
Council Ndege, could you please
Chair,
guide the
which
committee which
document?
document?
Chairman, I am referring to the governor's file.
Yes.
Which
It's
document?
labeled as travel. It is appearing in flagged as E. It's a receipt, the one that we are raising in the morning.
Proceed.
Do you have a clear copy of that receipt?
That receipt was...
Yes, do you have a clear copy?
The copy was taken from the banking slip that we did.
So speak to the mic.
That copy was made from the banking slip that we did. And some of the bank slips that are...
Banking slip.
From the original banking slip. Of
On whose behalf was this payment being done?
Her Excellency Governor.
Yes?
Her Excellency Governor.
What does it relate to?
A refund of travel that did not happen in January this year.
When was the travel supposed to happen?
Sometime in January this year.
Yes?
Sometime January this year.
January this year. Did the travel take place?
They didn't. They didn't. That's why there's a refund.
Yes. Procedurally, are you aware of how many days, hours, or months a refund must be done?
It is normally a practice that the surrender of imprests are normally recorded and done before the end of the financial year.
Yes? Speak to the mic kindly.
Yes, I'm aware.
After how long should a refund be done?
Immediately after just after the event has happened.
Do we have a prescribed period of doing the refund?
Yes, 7 days.
7 days. Did this refund comply with that provision of 7 days?
The refund...
Did the refund comply with the period of 7 days? Yes or no?
No.
Yes?
No.
In the event a refund is not done, what happens, or what is the obligation or the role of the chief officer, finance?
It was to inform the person who took the interest.
Are you also aware that you're also supposed to surcharge an individual?
Chairman, maybe counsel would allow the witness to complete his answer.
Okay.
Will, are you aware that you're also supposed to surcharge the officer responsible?
The practice that is normally there in
I am not asking the practice. I am asking whether you know the law requires that you surcharge, not the flagrant and abuse of the process that you have.
yes, I'm aware.
That you're supposed to refer within 7 days, yes?
Chair, I was saying that the normal practice is normally there is that at the surrenders are normally done before we cross the financial year.
That is the practice that you have.
And the chair, through the chair, is that when these implays were done, Her Excellency the Governor, most of the she is busy. She could not be in the county some of the time, and when I was able to get her, and I reminded her that this has not been refunded, she immediately gave the back and the money.
I know you're here to defend your employer, but you're also here to fight the truth, Mr. Mogo, correct? I am asking a simple question. Did this refund comply with the provisions of Rule 93 of the regulations?
The refund was done in time, only that we had not, the money had not yet
Come on,
reached us.
the trip was to take place in January, correct?
Yes.
The refund is supposed, it was done in April this year, correct?
Yes.
The law says 7 days, correct? Correct, Ndadi?
Chair, I was trying to.
I am asking you about what the law says.
Chair, I was trying to explain to the council that when those days reached, we got in touch with Her Excellency, but most of the times, Her Excellency is busy with other things. She could even be abroad at that time. And when we put that across to her, she made it good to refund the cash, even before the end of the financial year.
Do you have any proof to that effect?
The deposit slip.
No, to the effect that you approached Her Excellency to refund?
Chair, I got in touch with the people that take care of her diaries, because oftentimes she's busy, might not be able to reach her.
You got in touch
with the PA to remind the governor that there was this trip and actually it is not yet refunded. Immediately that got to us and she got the opportunity, we were able to give the money back immediately.
Okay, may proceed.
I ask you a question, Daddy. Did you surcharge the governor for failure to refund or to surrender? Did you surcharge, yes or no?
The governor had not refused to refund.
Did you surcharge?
No.
So this is an admission that she got public money in the month of January, decided to keep with it, and when the motion of impeachment is brought, decides to defend herself through a refund, correct?
No, that's not correct.
No further questions on that issue. I'll move to the next issue. You're referring to a file I referred previously about the motor vehicle. It's written Land Cruiser Prado Turbo KDG something. Or tender number 001. Mr. Ndadi, are you aware of a tender in purchase of a motor vehicle for the governor?
I am.
Did you participate in that tender in any way?
I didn't. I participated.
What was your role in that tender?
In awarding the tender to Toyota Kenya.
Yes.
After an opinion by the professionals in the procurement department.
Would you be aware how the tender was financed and from which vote head the same was done?
Chair, if I may explain that, we had budgeted for that motor vehicle in the budget under the development line. Because in our opinion, a vehicle is an asset as defined in the definitions under the PFM Act. When we came to the question of the money from the control budget had a different opinion. We appealed the
Sorry,
budget.
What was the opinion of the controller of budget in regard to the purchase?
That a motor vehicle which was budgeted under that particular item under the current budget. We we tried, we appealed to the control of budget, quoting our understanding of our budget like that, and also saying that the county assembly also passed the budget like that. So after that, the control budget stuck to our guns, and we came and budgeted for that money under the supplementary budget and a recurrent item as per recommendations of the control of budget.
So how was the purchase of the motor vehicle financed?
In the meantime, Chair, the governor's vehicle was totally depreciated because it was for 5 years.
No, I am not asking about the status of the motor vehicle, the financing of the motor vehicle. I refer you to a letter dated 27th February 2020. Would you read the content of that letter? What is the reference of that letter?
An application for bank guarantee.
An application for bank guarantee. For what purpose?
To secure the vehicle for excess
To
government.
secure a facility to purchase the governor's vehicle, correct?
No, the purpose was not to secure facility.
What was the purpose of the guarantee?
The guarantee was to assure the supplier that you'll be paid, despite him having supplying the vehicle.
Who was giving the assurance of the guarantee?
The treasury.
The Treasury. Are you conversant with the provisions of the Public Finance and Management Act? Public Management and Finance Act? PMF Act?
I am.
PFM Act.
Are you aware that a county government cannot get into such arrangements without the approval of the national government?
Chair, essentially, in this case, we were not borrowing because we couldn't borrow and we had money in the budget. What
Listen.
we were doing, Chair, if council allows me, is that we were having a stopgap measure to secure the vehicle. And actually that money, we repaid back after the budget.
Let me take you back to the budget that you had passed and given a vote head of development expenditure, correct? Where you said you had budgeted for the purchase of that motor vehicle, and the controller of budget advised you that that vote head cannot be used for that purpose and they need to be revoted to the recurrent expenditure, correct?
Yes.
At the time of the purchase of this motor vehicle, had you revoted it to the current expenditure?
We did that in the
At
supplementary
the time
budget.
of the purchase, Mr. Ndadi, had the revoting taken place?
That's what I was explaining. We did that when we did the supplementary budget
When was the supplementary budget passed?
in March.
In March. When was the purchase done?
In
Check on the document. You have it there.
This letter is dated 27th February 2020.
And when was the budget passed?
In March.
I want to refer you to another letter. But before I do that, I want you to explain what you meant by bank guarantee extension. What were you extending with the bank?
Mr. Ndegwa, your time is up, but I'll add you 2 more minutes, strictly 2 more minutes.
Chair, just give me 5 because I have 3 more files there just to peruse through.
Granted.
Much obliged. Let's move on very fast. What were you guaranteeing with the bank?
We were guaranteeing that the vehicle will be paid for.
The vehicle will be paid. Good. Had you gotten the approval of the county government for this guarantee?
So for us, it was not a borrowing, Mr. Chair.
Do you know one Wayne? I move on to the next point. Do you know one Wayne Gishira?
I know him.
What is his role in the county government?
He's an ICT advisor.
He's an ICT advisor to who?
To address governor.
Yes?
To address governor.
Do you have the responsibility of constituting any evaluation committee for any tender? Are you the one who plays that role?
My role in appointment of any committee, once the procurement director recommends,
Yes.
because he's a professional in that area, that's the time I appoint, after recommendation of the professional.
Are you the one who appointed Wayne in that particular tender? That is Veracity tender. Are you the one who appointed Wayne?
I need to confirm that with the appointment letter, which I can't see here. Because in the county, there are many tenders that happen. There are not many documents. I need to see particulars to confirm that actually I did.
I move on to the next point, Mr. Mogo. Are you aware about the content of this tender for Velocity? And are you the one who signed the agreement? Yes? Did you participate in the signing of this agreement, Mr. Mogo? Yes or no? We move on. I have five minutes.
Through the chair. Through the chair. The bulk of the procurement process is done by the professionals. So myself, I only rely on the opinion of the evaluation committees and the director procurement. So I don't participate in the tender opening and evaluation of that process.
But do you participate in appointing the evaluation committee? Do you participate in the appointment of the evaluation committees?
I appoint on recommendation of the professionals.
On the recommendation of the professionals.
I don't identify.
Are you aware that this tender has been impatched or impinged in these processes? Yes? Are you aware that this tender has been impatched?
I don't understand your question.
Are you aware that this tender has been questioned? Yes?
I am aware.
Kindly look at the letter dated 7th March 2018. Is that the letter you're looking for the appointment? Are you the one who executed it?
Yes, I am.
Is Wayne a member of the committee?
Yes.
Which role is he playing? Is he the chairman?
He is.
And by the way, do you know a company called Ever Trading Company Limited?
I don't know it.
Do you know one Edwin Gishobin Daddy?
I know him.
Who is he to you? What is your relationship with him?
He is my brother.
He's your brother.
Yes.
Are you aware that he has been participating in tendering processes?
I'm not aware.
You're not aware. I'll show you now. I'm referring to a document contained in the governor's documents, Tender 039. Look at, in the interest of time, it's labeled as 8M. Look at that contract. Very fast, Ms. Ndadi. Look at the contract. Yes? Who are the parties signing the agreement? Here. Who are the parties signing the agreement? Is the county government and who else? Ever Trading, correct?
Yes.
Who executed the agreement?
This agreement executed on recommendation of the...
No, I'm not asking about the recommendation. Who else you executed? Who else executed?
The Chief Officer of Environment.
Yes?
And I don't know the others.
I read them out for you. Evelyn Wakaria Nyaga, do you know him? Do you know that person?
No.
Do you know Samuel Mugira Mwangi?
No.
Do you know the members or the owners of Ever Trading?
No.
I put it to you that the company is owned by your brother. What do you say?
I'm not aware. I don't know.
I put it to you that these are family company. What do you say?
Chair, I may not know what my brothers and sisters, companies that they have, because I have no interest in knowing about what they do in their lives.
Are you aware how many tenders they were awarded in that particular year?
In the county, Chair, there are many tenders that are awarded over the years.
And you may not know.
I may not know.
Conveniently. Correct? So does it surprise you that you, the chief officer, facilitates the award of tenders to your brother without declaration of an interest, conflict of interest?
Chair, that is not a true statement.
I'm asking whether it surprises you. I didn't say it is true.
I'm not surprised because my relatives can do business without my knowledge. I can't know. I cannot follow people what they are doing in their own lives.
Yes, and your relatives are free to do business with the county government, correct?
I didn't say that. I said they're free to do business anywhere.
Okay. I'll not ask you further questions in that respect. But I only ask you, are you aware that that tender was Agipol Agipol reserved?
For that, Chair, that process, I normally, because I have a competent team of procurement officers, I normally leave that for them to evaluate and then give me a professional opinion on that.
So you cannot tell whether it was Agipol or not.
As I said, Chair, I relied on the professional opinion of the procurement department led by the director.
Are you the one who makes the payments once a requisition or a voucher is raised?
Payment is a process. There's a process of
Are
payment.
you the one who facilitates, or are you involved in the process of payment?
Along the way, I'm involved.
Does it ring bells when you see 2, 3, 4, 5 vouchers in respect of one particular company? In this case, Ever Trading.
Chair, it doesn't, because if, for example, it's a project and it is done in phases, and there are many projects that happen like that, and Chair, the kind of payments that happen in the county government, I may not be able to notice payments to a particular company.
But you confirm that your brother is free to do business as you stated, correct?
I did not say that, Chair. What I say, Chair, is that I may not be following up what everybody is doing, whether it's my relative or not.
Are you aware that your brother participated in the campaigns for the elect of the governor and played major role in her campaigns?
Chair, by that time I was busy in the bank. I couldn't have.
When did you join the county government?
In 2017.
2017, immediately after the campaigns. Yes?
Mr. Ndegwa, your time is up, but I will add you 3 more minutes. Huh?
I therefore
just to complete. Huh?
Much obliged. I therefore put it to you that you are holding that seat as a result of favorism, nepotism, and cronyism due to the role your brother played in the governor's campaign. What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely not. I hold because I'm qualifying for the position.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Chair, I went through the process of application, vetting, was vetted by the assembly. Hence, Chair, I hold the chair because I'm qualified for it.
Thank you. I will call upon counsel representing Governor Andu Angi to do cross-examination.
Mr. Karani will start, and we will share the time with Mr. Karani.
Okay. We can have 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
One second. Mr. Ndavi?
Yes, sir.
I want to just ask just 2 questions. A guarantee and a loan, are they different?
They are different.
Was for the vehicle?
Counsel, just be guided. Do not ask leading questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a guarantee and a bank loan, in your understanding?
A bank loan is a facility given to an applicant to pay in installments over a period of time. On the contrary, a guarantee is a statement by the bank that do what you need to do for this person. If it is applying an object, you are assured of payment.
So the money that is used for the guarantee belongs to whom?
It belongs to the applicant.
Thank you. Then, so in that case, was there any loss of money because of the purchase of a vehicle for the governor?
In actual fact, that money after the budget, we refunded it back to the account that we had used to guarantee.
Now, had the county assembly approved the purchase of that vehicle?
Actually, the county assembly approved the purchase of the vehicle twice.
Okay.
When we budgeted a environment and when we budgeted a recurrent.
The other question I wanted to ask is, you've been asked about the interest and allowance issue. I just want you to clarify just one thing. Have you had reason to issue a shock, to surcharge the governor for the time that he has been holding office because of non-refund of any interest or allowances for a trip that was not traveled?
I've had no reason.
Thank you. Oh, one last question, sorry. What is your position, forgetting the title you hold, what is your position in that, in the county government?
I'm the overall accounting officer in the county.
So as a result of that, decisions will have to pass through you one way or the other for approval from other committees,
Most of them, actually I would say all of them will pass through me.
even if it is the other committees that have made those decisions.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Just two clarifications. Wanadadi, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
In respect of the issue that my learned colleague made very heavy weather about impressed, has there or was there any loss occasioned to the Kirinyaga County government?
There is none.
And in respect of the purchase of the motor vehicle, was there any loss occasioned to the Kirinyaga County government?
Mr. Chair, there is none.
Thank you. Chairman, that is all the cross-examination, or that is all the examination in chief for this witness. And Chairman, I wish to ask you, or I wish to seek your direction. Chairman, cross-examination in this matter has already taken place. Cross-examination and examination in chief took place, but they happened the other way around. And Chairman, I want to cite you as my witness in that respect. When my learned colleague, Mr. Karani, was asking questions, you constrained him not to ask leading questions. That constraint, as Mr. Okello will tell you, is only applicable to examination in chief. So cross-examination has taken place, and cross-examination was done by my learned colleague, and he then has no right to re-examine.
Mr. Ndegwa?
Could I have a bite of the cherry? This is a witness who was, or who appears before the committee pursuant to our trigger. Our trigger in the sense that we are the ones who invoked the powers, or sought to invoke the powers of the committee to summon him. It is normal practice, and I don't know why my senior learned friend is missing the point, that whenever you cross-examine and re-examine is a question that is, or it's an obligation that is vested with the person who cross-examines. Again, my learned friend is confusing the proceedings before this committee. These are not adversarial proceedings. We are here for a fact-finding. I will not hesitate or tire to remind him that we are doing an inquisitory process. We are trying to inquire into the conduct of this individual, whether he had conflict of interest or not. So when he says that I have no right of cross-examination, I may rest my case and leave it to the committee for determination, but he has not cited the law in which he's relying on, so that I can have some substantive submissions in the same.
Chairman, perhaps by way of a brief response,
Yeah.
I am not confusing anything. I have gotten nothing wrong. Even if these proceedings are inquisitorial, it doesn't enjoin your committee to become informal. You put things to a witness when you cross-examine. You are constrained not to ask leading questions when you examine in chief. It is the party that examines in chief that has the ability to re-examine. Cross-examination having taken place, learned counsel cannot get an opportunity to cross-examine the witness again.
I think I will use the practice and traditions of this committee to make a determination on the same, and therefore allow re-examination for 5 minutes. It's therefore within my powers to overrule your objection.
We are guided, and perhaps the restriction as to no leading questions, now that it is re-examined, will be applied strictly to Mr. Ndegwa.
That is true. So, Mr. Ndegwa, stand guided. So you have exactly 5 minutes.
A question has been put to you, Mr. Ndadi, whether the county government of Kirinyaga, and by extension the Republic of Kenya, lost any money, right? Yes. Between January, when the trip was to take place, and April, when the refund was done, where was the money domiciled? Who was taking or who was drawing benefits of that money for that period of 4 months? Is it the county government of Kirinyaga? Is it the Republic of Kenya?
Chair, I may not be able to talk about benefits, but for me as an...
Who was in possession of the money?
The money was the money was in interest holders account.
Who, in this
And-
case, happens to be the governor.
It happens to be the governor.
So that connects her. And did she give you an account of what she did for 4 months with Kenyan money?
Mr. Chair, for me, as the accounting officer, it's not my interest to know when money got to an individual's account, whether it sits there until the time she will come back in April and withdraw the money and bring it to me, or otherwise. For me, Chair, is that when I forward the refund, it was given back to me at the time that it was given as per that deposit slip, and I deposited. So my assumption is that the money was still sitting there, and for some reason, I could not be able to get it until that time it was deposited. So, Chair, I cannot be able to answer that question the way the Council has asked.
I go to the question of the bank guarantee, correct? Did I hear you explain that the bank guarantee is not a facility?
Yes,
What is it in financial terms?
it is a statement by the bank giving the guarantee that supply what this applicant is requesting for.
Yes.
You are guaranteed to be paid by this particular.
In the event of default for payment, what happens in financial circumstances?
In our case, there was
No, I'm asking in financial circumstances, not in your case. In the event of default, default, what happens to
Chair.
the guarantee?
Chair, I think this question arises because of the issue that is on the table right now.
Yes, and I am
In
now
our case,
asking
Chair,
for purpose of information.
In our case-
Financially, in the event of default to honor the guarantee, what happens?
In our case, Chair, there was no chance of default because we are under the budget.
Yes, that is not the question I'm putting. I am very precise on the answer that I want. In the
Chairman.
event of default, what happens?
Chairman, Learned Counsel is asking a hypothetical question. He's asking a hypothetical question, and the answer that the witness has given is that the scenario that counsel is asking did not arise. And this is not a lesson on the law of guarantees.
I think you're right. So, Mr. Ndegwa, kindly remain relevant.
Why do you think there could not have been a default? Is it because the county government would still have honored the guarantee?
It is because there was a budget to pay for that vehicle.
To honor the guarantee, correct?
To pay for-
Subsequent to the passing of the supplementary budget, the county government was to honor the guarantee, correct?
Chair, I said the purpose of budgeting for the vehicle was to pay for the vehicle using the budget.
But you took possession of the motor vehicle before the budget was passed, correct?
In the procurement
Yes or
process-
no?
In the procurement process, if you have a budget, you can go and procure. That's why we procured the vehicle, because you had a budget at the government in September in that financial year.
No further questions.
Thank you. I think we shall have a maximum of 4 questions. Honorable Kajwang, and then Honorable Retired Judge, Honorable Mazayo.
Thank you, Chair. Let me go straight to the issues. To the Chief Officer, you are definitely aware of the PFM, the Act and the regulations, particularly Regulation 93 that talks about interest management. It defines an accounting officer for interest purposes. Will I be correct to say that you're the accounting officer referred to in the regulations for interest management and accountability?
I am Chair, alongside the departmental accounting officers.
And so you're aware that when it comes to interest management, first of all, you had alluded that it should be surrendered within 7 days. You're aware of that provision?
Yes, I am.
You are also aware that you should not issue interest before the previous interest has been surrendered.
Yes, I'm aware.
In this case, did you issue interest before, an additional interest before the previous one had been surrendered?
Well, as much as I can remember, Chair, I didn't. But I need to go and confirm that. But as much as I can recollect, I didn't. Because,
Which you know would be an offense if that was the case.
Yes.
But you're also aware of the provisions of Regulation 93(7) that says where the accounting officer fails to recover interest within the parameters stipulated in the Act and the regulations, he or she commits an offense. In other words, on the offense, on the charge on interest management, The person who should be charged is a chief officer, the accounting officer, not even the governor. Because it is as specifically stated as an offense. It says if the accounting officer fails to recover, he or she commits an offense. Such that this burden should be on your shoulder, not necessarily on the governor's shoulder.
Yes, I agree, Honorable Senator. But in this case, we recovered the chair.
Finally, on conflict of interest, you are also aware of the provisions of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act. And in it, it talks about conflict of interest. And it defines the persons who would constitute a conflict of interest: spouse, brother, parent, etc., etc. You're all aware of that. One of the charges against the governor is that through your office, you've been issuing contracts to companies that are related to the chief officer finance. So again, for avoidance of doubt, Eva Trading, is it a company that you have any interest in?
Honorable Chair, I have no interest in Eva Trading.
Is it a company where your brother or relative has an interest in?
Honorable Chair, I may not be aware about that. I am not aware.
And in the case of Eva Trading, or in the case of issuing the letters or writing the letters that we've seen here, has there been any point in time where you declared a conflict of interest?
I did not, Chair, because I didn't have a liaison, because I didn't know. All the companies that tender, as I said, there are many contracts that happen in the county, and all of them, I have to sign them. Honorable Chair, I may not be able to peruse all the documentation for companies. As I also alluded to, Chair, is that it's very difficult for an individual to know what company belongs to whom. I mean, if I will really go into wanting to know which company belongs to whom, then I would actually be questioned into what I'm interested in finding out, which particulars are you finding out. So I may not be able to go into finding out the hundreds of companies that tender in the county, and go into finding out who are the owners.
Thank you, Chief Officer. Chair, I appreciate that it will be upon the Assembly to prove that Eva Trading indeed is owned by persons with relation to the Chief Officer. I appreciate that it is not his duty, but he has said it on oath that he knows nothing about them, and when he signed these documents, he did not declare any interest as required in the PPDA. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Retired Judge Mazayo.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Ndavi, if I may ask you, this is a very interesting scenario where sometimes the truth will set you free. Now, we want to know, if I saw the name Mazayo making an application and it has been awarded, would I be interested to know which Mazayo is this? Or would I ignore it because there are so many of such kind of maybe tenders which has been allocated? But suppose I see it in more than maybe 3 or 4 awards of tender, what would come to my mind, particularly if a name is almost like my own surname?
Honorable Chair, the document that I signed, the award letter, is birthed by an opinion that is generated by the Evaluation Committee and the Tendering Committee. In that opinion letter, there's normally no names of directors of companies. The only information that is there is the companies that were evaluated and the one that, according to the Evaluation Committees, thought was the best qualified. So in the opinion letter, which is normally brought to my attention by the Director of Procurement, advising me that they have gone through the process and they have found this company, which does not have names, is one that is most qualified. So I would have no way of knowing the names of the owners of the companies.
Get serious, Mr. Ndavi. You know what it means, the certificate of incorporation of a certain company, Eva Trading. You know it, that it was awarded tenders by the county. You are aware of it?
Yes, I am.
And you are in charge of that particular department. Are you not in charge?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Now, did you have a chance, when people apply, they normally supply also with a list of directors?
Chair.
Did you have a chance, just wait for my question
Chair.
now.
Sorry.
Did you have a chance to peruse through as to who are the directors and whether that is right or wrong? Because now, as an employee, I think your antennas must go up and say you must be fair to all parties. Don't you think, in my humble view, don't you think this was a conflict of interest and you are deliberately refusing?
Chair, that's not true, because as I said, I am not involved in the tendering process. The opening of the tender documents and the evaluation of that process, where all those documents are perused, I'm not involved, and not only for these particular tenders or the tenders in the county government. What I normally do, I leave that work to the professionals. They do that work, and they give me an opinion, which gives me the company that in their process of evaluation, they are convinced is the most qualified to do the job.
I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. I want to remind this honorable committee and specifically honorable members that the person who has been charged before us is Honorable Ann Mumbi Waiguru, and therefore, whatever questions you are asking should be limited to facts or matter that you want clarification on as pertains the charges that have been brought before this honorable house. Am I clear? The same? Thank you. Any other concern? Honorable Mpai, you had something to say? You okay? I think that is done and dusted. Do you have anything to say in your closing remarks?
Thank you for the chance. That's all.
Asante sana. Thank you. Honorable members, I was to make a determination on the matter in which we had a witness seated in the chambers while other witnesses were giving out their evidence. I would like to rule as follows, that we need to appreciate that this is not a purely criminal matter, and therefore, looking at our rules of procedure, which guide the proceedings of this honorable committee, we do not have a specific provision that provide that a witness will not sit in the chambers while other witnesses will be giving evidence. Second, we need also to remain alive to the fact that the proceedings of this sitting are being aired live, and therefore, even if the witness was sitting in a holding room, we had already provided that we shall be broadcasting the events of this honorable committee live, and therefore he or she would still be privy to the facts that are being conversed in this committee, and therefore would like to rule as follows, that I will admit the evidence of the said officer, and I hereby call upon the officer to come and provide evidence before this committee. Thank you. You may take oath or affirmation.
I, Kennedy Mreithi Ngiabi, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before the special committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Again, we shall be very strict on the time.
Yes.
Mr. Ndegwa, we shall be very strict on time.
I will. Yes, Chair.
We shall have 15 minutes for cross-examination.
Mr. Ndadi, good evening.
Perhaps,
Yeah.
Just another direction. Sorry to bother you again. It is 26 minutes to 9. And curfew will lock us mortals out in another 26 minutes. I hope the chairman will bear that in mind as we proceed.
Yeah, I think we are classified under essential services, so you are safe. We shall ensure that you reach home safely.
And if we can't, we hope we can come home with you, Chairman.
Mr. Ndegwa, you may proceed.
Mr. Ndadi, you have been called before this committee to adduce evidence.
Correction, I'm not Mr. Ndadi.
Sorry, Mr. Ngiabi.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Ngiabi, I'm sorry for that, and thank you for the correction. We have called you here to adduce evidence towards particular issues where the governor is accused of abuse of office in the manner she conducts her affairs. To that effect, Mr. Ndadi, you wrote a letter that I tabled before this committee dated the 4th of January.
For purposes of record, can we get the exact name?
Mr. Ngiabi.
Yes, that's the correct
I
name.
think I'm obsessed by the Ndadis.
N-G-I-A-B-I.
Mr. Ngiabi.
Kennedy.
Mr. Ngiabi, I refer you to a letter that I tabled in the morning, dated the 4th of January 2018. Would you look at the content of that letter, Mr. Ngiabi?
I would wish to look at the content of this letter, but before I look at the content of this letter, I would also want to make some comments.
Go on.
Opening remarks.
Among those comments, give us your qualifications.
Yeah. My name is Kennedy Murithi Gyabi, current chair, Kirinyaga County Public Service Board. I am a holder of Bachelor of Commerce degree, and I'm also a certified public accountant. For the last 24 years, I've been working with the Office of the Auditor General, and that is where I resigned to go and join Kirinyaga because I wanted to be one of those people involved in making Kirinyaga to rise. Therefore, I resigned, and my last station in the Office of the Auditor General, I was the liaisons officer in the parliamentary affairs. I was coordinating all the ministries and departments who are bringing their reports to the Public Accounts Committee and Public Investments Committee. I have a wealth of knowledge in auditing, and that's my background because all my life I've been working as an auditor, stationed in various ministries and departments. I've worked in the Treasury, I've worked in the State Law Office, I've worked in KRA as the auditor in charge. I've also worked as the auditor in charge of state houses in 2013 and 2014. And therefore, that's where I left when coming to join the Parliamentary Liaisons Office for the Office of the Auditor General. That is my opening remark, but before I do that, I would wish to state that I received a letter of invitation yesterday at around 5 from the Senate telling me that I should appear to give or clarify some issues. And when I went through that letter, I saw there was an area whereby it's written, therefore, the special committee hereby summons you to appear before the committee in person on Tuesday, 23rd June 2020 at 10 a.m. at the mini chamber, first floor, County Hall, Parliament buildings. And then the letter went ahead to give me some caution that take note that should you fail to attend before the special committee on the date and time specified in the summons, all to produce the documentations required by the committee. Number one, the committee may impose upon me a fine not exceeding 500,000 shillings, or may order for my arrest pursuant to section 19.1 and 19.3, respectively, of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act 2017. And number two, that you shall also be guilty of an offense.
time, Mr. Ngiabi.
Okay, now the reason why I was reading this is that I wanted to say the reason why I'm here. I just received this one. I was not given what I should come with here or what. So I'm here to answer what I'm going to be asked. And I will answer exhaustively because I understand issues touching on the county. Yes.
That's okay now, Mr. Ngiabi.
Thank you.
Look at that letter.
Yes, I can see there's a letter. This is my letter.
Yes. Do you own it?
I own it.
What is the subject of the letter?
The subject of the letter I handwritten to the Sectoral Committee for Public Service, Kirinyaga County Assembly.
What is the date of the letter?
The subject matter is coercion by Her Excellency the Governor to recruit unqualified Director of Administration by name Pauline Wairimu Kamau.
What is the date of the letter?
The date of the letter is 4th January 2018.
Why do you call it coercion by the Governor to recruit Pauline?
I would wish to state that if you look at the organogram or the organizational chart of the county, you will realize that it's well drawn and well stipulated, the relationship between the governor, the other officers, and everybody else. And you will find that the relationship between the office of the governor and the office of the County Public Service Board is in a dotted line. It's not a complete line. And therefore, that means in human resource terminologies that it is an office whereby you are supposed to consult both ways. And in that respect, me as the chair of the Public Service Board, in my letter of appointment, and even in the County Government Act, stipulates the functions of me as the county chairman. And one of them is to coordinate all the activities of the board and even to liaise with the governor on matters which are going on. And some of these matters mostly involves human resource. And therefore, this letter I wrote when I found that we have advertised for the positions of directors, not only this director of administration.
Yes.
There are many. We were to recruit several directors. And when we are recruiting directors, we are guided by the provisions which are already there in existence as guided by the Transitional Authority. And that Transitional Authority gives specific qualifications for each and every cadre.
Qualification for a director given by the Transition Authority?
Transition Authority gives the minimum qualification for a person to be appointed a director as minimum a degree from a recognized university and 10 years experience in that relevant field.
So did you assess the said Pauline and found out that she was not qualified?
I did that, not me alone.
Yes.
When I explained now, because I had that information, when I was discussing with Her Excellency the Governor, I brought it to her attention that as much as we would have right to recruit this person, Pauline Wairimu Kamau, when we go through the documents, we found that she does not have the minimum requirements.
You mean you discussed the recruitment of Pauline with the governor?
Personally, myself.
Why was it necessary for you to do so?
Because I told you the relationship between the governor's office and the County Public Service Board is a dotted line. And therefore, if I find that there's something which is not going on, there's nothing to prevent me to go and talk to governor directly and give my opinion.
After you gave your opinion to the governor about the qualification of that Pauline, what was her reaction?
She became adamant and decided that that is the person to be given that position.
Are you aware where she was working previously before she became the director?
I'm privy to that because I had gone through the records that even when she was hired before, I had not joined the county. She was joined early, way before, in I think November or September 2017. By that time, I was still in the office of the Auditor General. And that time, she was given the position of the personal assistant to the governor, and she was introduced to the board, normally the way the governor introduces her staff, and that's the normal, that These are a list of my staff. Can you regularize and can you go ahead and now give them whatever is required? And that's what we did.
So you mean the governor never took it lightly when you informed her that the lady she once recruited has no qualifications?
I may say that she did not take it lightly, because if she took it lightly, we could have actually discussed that matter further, but that matter ended there, which forced me now to go and report back to my full board the decision of the governor.
Yes.
And when I reported back that the governor has said that we must employ this person, my board members, all of them, were very, very much annoyed about it.
Were there other people who are more qualified than she was in the list?
I think they not even 10. I have a database, but I wish you had asked me to the document I should come with, because
We'll favor you with some documents. We'll favor you with some.
Yes.
Is that the database you're talking to?
There's a database, because the moment we...
Again, Chairman, the witness and counsel have gone off into a conversation on their own. We cannot follow the conversation because we don't have the benefit of the documents they are talking about.
So can you
restrict myself to the letter that I just shown you?
Okay.
But you want to confirm that you hired Pauline out of the coercion by the governor?
I would say that.
Look at the next letter that I've given you. What is the date of that letter?
4th December 2017.
Whom are you addressing the same to?
To the Sectoral Committee for Public Service, Kirinyaga County Assembly.
What are you addressing them on?
A request for intervention.
What intervention? Would you read the content of the letter?
Yes. The content of the letter, I was writing to this Sectoral Committee because it's the one which is in charge of public service, and I was asking this committee to put some mechanism in place to rein on the governor to respect the law.
So you mean the governor was not respecting the law?
Simply because now when I'm told to recruit somebody who is not qualified, it's me who will be answerable together with my board. It's me and my board who will be held by the EACC asking us, why you as an independent body, what did you do?
Look at that letter that has been given unto you, the next letter now.
Yeah, the second one.
No, yeah, the one that has just been brought.
Yes.
It's on the table.
Yes.
Again, what is the content of that letter?
It is the letter of appointment.
Dated when?
Dated 15th November 2017.
Whom are you appointing?
The ICT advisor.
Yes, who is this ICT advisor?
Is one way Ngeshera Gakuya.
Yes.
I would want to clarify that when this Win Ngeshera was being recruited, I had not reported to the county by that time, but
yes,
it was given the letter of appointment by the existing board which was there.
And you own that letter as a board?
Yes, because it's the one which is in the file.
Yes.
I don't even know how you got it.
Let me ask you, Mr. Ngiabi.
Yes.
To whom is he advising?
Who?
Who is he advising?
The governor. There's a governor staff.
Yes.
Yes.
Are governor staffs, according to your knowledge in human resource and accounting and yes, audit, yes, supposed to play any role in procurement processes?
Governor staff have got very specific roles.
Yes.
Very restricted laws. Number one, they don't report to the county secretary. That's yes, number one. Because they are not in the line of public servants.
Yes.
These are governor staffs.
So, yes.
And therefore, they report to the chief of staff.
Yes.
And the chief of staff reports directly to the governor.
So are they supposed to play any role in the tendering processes?
As far as I'm concerned, from my background, these people, the governor staff, these are people who are taking direct instructions from the governor and therefore are not qualified to sit in such public activities. And yeah, like the tendering committees.
Are you aware that there's an authority, there's a manual from the Transition Authority creating the offices of governor staffs?
Oh, yes, I'm aware of that.
Is that one of the offices that has been created by that manual?
Not really, it's not provided for in that manual because the manual specifically gives the number, their roles, their salaries, and everything. And
So-
ICT advisor is not one of them.
Is not one of them.
Yes.
I now take you to my last position and my last issue
Yes.
on the question of the reinstatement of the 77 medical doctors. Yes?
There's another one here. Yes, okay.
Are you aware of that reinstatement?
I'm aware of this as the chairman of Renyaga County
Did
Public
you play
Service.
any role in their reinstatement?
And
Did you play any role in their reinstatement?
Chairman, again, we do not have the benefit of that letter.
I think we have served you counsel with the letter.
The witness has not even identified the letter by date or reference.
But do you have the letter?
What letter?
Okay. What is the date of the letter?
11th December 2019.
No, I don't have the letter.
So
Don't have
can
the
you
letter.
furnish the council with the letter? A copy of the letter?
Mwonyeshe. Mwonyeshe. Just help
Or you
me.
can share it with the... And also note, your time is over, so I'll add you 2 more minutes.
Anyway, even in the absence of that letter, evidence was led to the effect that there was a reinstatement of 77 medical officers. You are aware of that?
I'm aware of that.
Yes?
It came about as a result of the olive branch which was extended by our honorable governor.
Yes?
And she said in a press statement, paid press statement, that those people, after the ruling in Nyeri,
Yes?
those people who come back to work will not be sanctioned, will not be punished, so long as they come back.
Are you aware whether they are drawing their salaries or not?
I'm aware that they are not drawing salaries.
For how long
And
have they
I've
worked?
even been served with a court summon on the same.
How long have they been working without salaries since the time of their reinstatement?
The time I was writing that letter ago, I think, I don't know whether it has been accepted here.
Yes? Move
The
on.
time I was writing this letter was in December. That time in December.
December which year?
From July 2019.
Yes.
From July when we reinstated them up to December, they had not been paid. And even now, I have not gotten any communication from any quarter. The only communication I got is that I had been summoned to a court to go and respond to those to changes of not paying those people salaries.
From a human resource perspective, which you have knowledge of,
Yes.
does that motivate or demotivate workers?
Though there are some scholars who say that money is not the only motivating factor,
Yes?
it is also a factor to motivate.
Yes?
It is called hygiene factor.
Yes.
And therefore, even if it's not, it can interfere with the type of service you are going to deliver.
So it can interfere with the output of the workers?
Yes.
No further questions.
Thank you. We shall accept cross-examination from councils representing Honorable Iguru.
Thank you, Chair. We'll share this time with my colleague, my learned friend, Mr. Nyamondi. Very quickly, Mr. Giabi.
Yes.
You are a long-serving public officer in fairly senior position.
Oh, yes.
You understand the mandate of the Public Service Board.
Precisely.
You understand the concept of independence of that office.
Oh, yes.
You understand why that independence was given.
Yes, in
Why?
paper.
Why is that board made independent?
Let me answer you this way. The board is regarded as independent. But what do we mean by independence, council? If the board do not have its own budget, what kind of independence are you talking about?
So what you are saying is that your board is not independent.
Not my board, all 47 county public service board. And I'm here in my closing remark going to make a comment to the honorable senators, because there had been a bill here for the county public service board lying here in the Senate for the last 2 years, and it has never been passed, trying to seek that independence.
Okay. Mr. Giabi.
Oh, yes.
Of all the independent institutions in this country,
Kenyans are picking up great brands for a few shillings. The Yamaha Crux Rev B retails for 104,000 shillings, but you can get it for a fraction of that by making the lowest unique bid for it today. Tell me what you think the successful low bid will be.
Half price?
Lower.
10,000?
Lower.
1,000?
Lower. 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 Take home a brand new Yamaha Crux Rev B for only a few shillings. Simply place your lowest unique bid now. Go to howlow.co.ke or go to paybill 777892. And account number, enter the word bike, then followed by your bid amount and then KTV. Pay 20 shillings to enter. Hurry, bid now. Auction closes soon. How low can you go?
It's Lukaku! It's Lazari. Immobile! Classic! Good footwork, good goal. Just like that, in the blink of an eye. Morella goes for the corner! If that's won it, it is some way to win it.
Serie A is back. Stay connected to DSTV to watch it.
Fear, panic, anxiety, our lives at risk.
The Ministry of Health has confirmed the first coronavirus case in Kenya.
Our days changed. Counties, towns, homes, our borders locked down. But not for long. For together, we will reclaim our own. Together, we must unite to fight and protect those we love and those who don't have. This is why we are calling on all corporates and well-wishers to donate to the COVID-19 Kenya Fund so that we can fight this pandemic together. Bega kwa bega, we shall overcome, and together we shall rise.
Coronavirus COVID-19 is a respiratory virus spreading across the world. The infection is spread from droplets of coughing and sneezing of an infected person, touching or shaking hands, or being in contact with contaminated surfaces or objects with the virus. The signs and symptoms are fever, coughing, headache, body ache, difficulty in breathing. The disease can be prevented by regularly washing hands with soap and running water. Avoid close contact with people who have flu-like symptoms. Avoid handshake, hugs, and kissing. Also, protect yourself by covering your mouth or nose using a disposable